4 Israeli soldiers, 3 women and a man, were killed in Jerusalem on Sunday. More than a dozen were injured, 3 reportedly in serious condition. The attacker, a Palestinian married man in his 20s with Israeli citizenship, plowed a truck into them. Another example of using a truck as a weapon. We are going to show you some of the surveillance footage of this incident while I describe what happened. This is an individual who previously served time in prison. And camera footage that was shot from a distance shows the truck racing towards a group of soldiers standing by their bus, driving through the group, scattering bodies. And after a delay of a few seconds, you see the truck starting to reverse into them again. And that is when witnesses said, by and large, they realized this was not a car accident, but this was a deliberate act of terror. The driver was ultimately shot dead by other soldiers and a tour guide with the group that was hit. Eyewitnesses who arrived said that they saw all sorts of horrible things, including a body under the truck's wheels, other bodies beside the truck, and of course, the driver dead behind the windshield. This is the deadliest Palestinian attack in Jerusalem in months. No connection to ISIS currently. Palestinians without links to ISIS have used this method before. In terms of the reaction, Hamas's Qassam brigades said that the Jerusalem ramming attacker was indeed a released prisoner, and a statement from the group refers to him as a mujahid, a jihadi fighter. Hamas also put out a statement saying that the operations of Israel in the West Bank and Jerusalem prove that the Jerusalem Intifada is not an isolated event, but rather a decision by the Palestinian people to revolt until they attain freedom and liberation. The sister of the terrorist driving the truck called it, quote, most beautiful martyrdom. Now, there is a political context here, and I want to be super clear, okay? I can't say that this incident was specifically related to this, but like I've said before, after Donald Trump selected pro-settlement David Friedman as an ambassador to Israel, the U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry said this could have consequences if Trump follows through with unilaterally moving the U.S. embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. I'm not blaming Trump for this at all. I want to be super clear. If I see comments saying I'm blaming Trump, I'm going to ignore them because I'm telling you right now that that's not what I'm doing. I think that we have to unequivocally condemn and do everything that we can do to prevent these acts of terror. All I am saying is that there are political decisions that can be made which will make this type of incident worse, more likely to happen. And there are decisions that can be made that might get us closer to realistic peace talks in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The truth is that regardless of what Trump did, Palestinian leadership has been encouraging young Palestinian men to attack Israeli soldiers and Israeli civilians. And there are 2 terrorism trends, both predicted, both increasingly common. Pre-security or outside of security airport attacks, which we've seen even over the weekend, and using trucks to drive through crowds of people. We saw it in Nice, France. We saw it in Germany. Truck ramming is very convenient. Think about it. To do a suicide vest attack, which we used to see a lot of in Jerusalem, you need to get explosives, equipment, learn how to build it. Typically, you can't do it by yourself. More than one person is involved. You steal a truck and you drive it into a crowd, Pat, you'll likely kill as many people as you would, at least compared to what some of the suicide vest attacks have done. And it is very difficult to harden an entire city against these runaway truck attacks.
Yeah, it's a very concerning new style of terrorist attack because when you think of something like hijacking a plane, there are many measures of security that you have to go through before you enter a plane. Or when we talk about a shooting, there are things like background checks and not allowing people on a terrorist watch list to obtain a weapon. For something like this, when just about anyone can drive, or even if you take away their license, can steal a car, it's much more concerning.
Some cities have started bringing out concrete Jersey barriers to protect pedestrian areas, but the reality is that it is very, very difficult, and critical buildings anticipate this. If you look at diplomatic buildings, they have perimeters, they have very high security standards, they have barriers that are fixed deep into the ground, elevated walls, the buildings are set back. You just can't do that everywhere, and this is a real concern. Also, al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, talking about Yemen, published a debriefing report after the Nice truck attack, And they said that this is a method that they endorse and are encouraging people to use. So very concerning news from over the weekend. We'll continue talking about it and the implications. Remember that I'm on Twitter at @dpakman. Follow me there. Today's episode is made possible in part by ZipRecruiter. If you are hiring, you need to know where to post your job to find the best candidates. And posting in one place is just not enough. If you want to find the perfect hire, you should be using all of the top job sites, and now you can with ZipRecruiter, which already has 9 million resumes you can search through in their database. You can add people to your account to make it the most efficient hire finding team. ZipRecruiter.com lets you post your job to 100 plus job sites, including social media networks like Facebook and Twitter with a single click. It's also a search engine for finding and posting jobs. You can look for candidates in a particular city or industry nationwide. You post once and you see the qualified candidates start to roll in to ZipRecruiter's easy to use interface. You don't have to juggle emails or calls. You can screen, rate, and rank candidates within the ZipRecruiter system. And if you have any issues, ZipRecruiter has a friendly and human support team ready to help. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by over 1 million businesses. You can go to ZipRecruiter.com/free trial. That is ZipRecruiter.com/free trial. One more time, try it for free. ZipRecruiter.com/free trial.